Oké. Wat zijn we vergeten?
We talk English.
Oh.
Let's talk English.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to the TableTalks with today with Ketu Bø and me, Roland Engelbracht. And we talk. We thought of recording a podcast in English. So we started in Dutch, and now we talk English. And we want to talk about trauma healing. Basically we talk as friends about subjects that we are thinking of interesting for people to know about, healing people from chronic pain or from holding patterns. So we will talk about character structures, we will talk about fascia, we will talk about healing in general, about myofascial energetic release, which we use as a tool to open up people emotionally and also to help people with chronic pain. We like to talk about healing trauma, because we together in December we have this workshop in Amsterdam, and to make it clear, we start talking about it a little bit today, because it's so interesting to start looking at people in this way. And this is a picture of where trauma is held in the body, and there's more pictures, of course, and there's books to read about this, but basically this is the 7 segments of where people hold tension in their body, and this one is holding it in all the 7 segments, being supported by belts even, which is, it's not a funny picture actually when you have to live like this.
The fact is that these tensions, that you have them more or less in your body, but it's below your level of awareness. You are not really aware of the tension that you carry with you.
No, that's true.
And but it's there, and that is also part of the work we do, is to make people aware of the tension they hold, and also the feelings they suppress with this tension.
Yeah, and the feelings suppressed in these tensions, that might be pretty obvious if you know where it is. So if we start with the eyes, there you see that you probably hold things in your eyes that you probably don't want to see, or you are so longing for attention that you really use your eyes to get the attention, or stuff like that. And Ketu is preparing the lecture for the next trauma healing block, so he knows a lot about eyes.
Right. Well, I didn't know, but it's coming. Yeah. Well, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, huh? And there's a reason for that, because there's a lot of emotional holding around the eyes, and you can look at the person's eyes, and it looks almost like the eyes are disappearing into the sockets, which tells a story. Or people have bulging eyes, or you will meet somebody who looks at you very suspiciously with his eyes, and it all says something about the personal history of this person. And so one of the things we do in this training is to work on the segments, and also around the eyes and around this whole segment, which also corresponds to one of the chakras, and to bring feeling back there, and to relieve tension, and to help people get some expression back in the face and the eyes. Because often what people hold there, we call it frozen history. They're simply old feelings which still need to be dealt with, which are held in place by chronic tension.
Which is actually the shortcut into the word trauma. People hold tension in their bodies, and they are stored there, and when they are stored there, then we call it trauma. And to release that, myofascial energetic release is a great tool to help people release tension in that areas. And we developed techniques with Satyarthi and our other friends who do this work and teach this work, like Nisarga and my friend here, Ketu, is also a teacher. And we developed techniques to release that tension in that space. So also around this eye segment, this whole segment around all the fascias around this, and also in the eye, in the socket of the eye. If it's held there, you can release it by working on the fascia.
Yeah, and what's great about this work is that you get your level of expression back in your face. Like the face is so important for social engagement. Yeah, for relating to other people. And then we get down to the level of the polyvagal theory and how the autonomic nervous system is working. So this is also something we use in this work we do. And we try to give people their expression back in the face, which is very important for making contact with other people. Yeah. And so it works on different levels, this work.
Yeah, and to release the tension in the polyvagal nerve, the vagus nerve, is also around these areas, not especially around the eye, but more around the mouth, the oral segment, and around the neck, the cervical segment here. There's tension in this area sometimes when people are in this shock response and frozen in that. Then they hold a lot of tension around the brainstem where these nervous and the nervous lines go through. And when it's being released, then people become in the parasympathetic state, and they will really go into social engagement again. And when you release your eyes, mouth, and neck, then you can really express and take in stuff again more easily. So the first three segments are really important segments, and yeah, it's nice to know how to help people releasing their traumas in that area.
Yeah, and most people, they also find these treatments actually pleasurable, although we make people aware of the tension they hold. But this body awareness, it also helps people to live more in the body and to feel more what's going on there. Because the problem in our culture is that a lot of people live in the head. They try to solve everything by means of thinking, by being rational. And they forget this whole part where the emotions are, where your feelings are. So that is one result of this work, is that people report feeling more relaxed, feeling more in the body, and being able to feel more what they're actually experiencing when they go through life.
Yeah, and express more, like through the mouth. People hold like this in the mouth. I'm just bridging to the next segment.
Yeah. Well, all these segments are also connected, but we, can start up and work your way down, which makes it easier for deeper feelings to come to the surface.
Yeah, but you can also imagine that people really bite their jaw to hold in all this energy that they will actually want to share with the world, but they can't, because there's something blocking it, some shame or some disgust or whatever is there around this area, which is also being taught in the level we are about to teach. But it's nice to know that you can help people with holding of that area. And then we can go to the neck, the cervical area, and arms, which is actually connected to this, because it has to do with reaching out for people and talk to them and make connection with them from this area. And if it's held, then they're obviously afraid of reaching out, and they are, or when it's held because they are afraid of being damaged. So they want to have more space for themselves. It's both ways. So it's the way to reach out, or it's the way to hold space,
to make space for yourself, huh?
In the arms and here in the cervical. It's about, most of the time it's being afraid of expressing yourself.
Often we talked about frozen history. There is also frozen expression. Like trauma has a lot to do with feelings and movements and expressions which cannot be fulfilled, which cannot come to an end. They
are not finished.
They are not finished. They sort of freeze in the body. So part of this work is to help people to complete this movement which is stuck. Now this can be, in this segment, it can be actually setting your borders. And after being able to set your borders, you're more able to welcome people and to invite people to come closer. But first you have to
set your boundaries.
To set your boundaries, exactly. And especially for people whose boundaries have been violated through abuse and violence and things like that, and who were defenseless at the time, they need to come back in their power. And this power is often a physical movement, something that has to be completed. So these are some of the things that we work with in this training.
Yeah, so in practical, it means that people are being watched while you do the session around this area, working, and then you see that movement is coming in arms, and then you ask them by verbal cueing, what's there in the arms? What do your arms want to do? They want to grab something, or they want to slam something, or they want to push something away, and you just help them finish the expression which was held in the tissue. So what in the fascia. So then you release trauma physically, and it will have a profound effect on the psyche as well. So people really heal from these old wounds that they stored in their body in this way of working.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's a lot of fear then where people get stuck in as a result of these traumas, and people make themselves small. So by releasing this tension, we try to help people expand and really inhabit their body again, because often this escape to the head has a lot to do with fear of these repressed feelings. So by helping people embrace these feelings again and express them and complete the movement, whatever it is, people can find peace again, and they can start more living in the here and now instead of being stuck in the past.
Yeah, and have a more a physical relationship with their own bodies. They're more aware of their holdings by using this technique and this way of releasing, because they really are aware of the tension and are aware of the tension leaving their bodies and entering their bodies again, because it can be also re-traumatized again by something happening on the street the same day or in other points in your life. So it's not only primal stuff that we deal with, but it's also stuff that we trauma develop through our lives, like divorce for me was a big thing, or a car accident, or just the fall of a bike. It can be really trauma held in the body because of an event like that. And it doesn't have to be a primal thing. It can be. I in my session look a lot, and I think you too, to the primal holdings, which are the Reiki and body types. We look a lot like. So the Reiki and body types are also related to the tension you see in these 7 segments a lot actually. And when you start working this way, it is really helpful to release people from their primal wounds, so they can be more fluid and more flexible and more alive in their lives. And that can be really life-changing to look into that.
But it's good you mentioned that, because there's shock trauma, which is often like a violent event or catastrophic event, but there's also the daily stress of life, which also can accumulate in the body if you don't know how to release it, or if you're not aware of what's going on in your body. And if you let this stress accumulate and you don't do anything about it, then the result can be physical symptoms and pain and burnout, and it's all on a physical level. And where this work can really help with getting more relaxed, getting rid of the tension,
and get more body awareness.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when you can leave a session feeling more relaxed and more in your body, you will also be more able to deal with the stresses of life. You will become more resilient, as we say.
Yeah.
And the veerkracht in Dutch.
Veerkracht, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you learn more to absorb, but also more to give it back what you absorbed, and that's a healthy way of living. If you absorb things and then give it back because it's not belonging to you, as you can feel in your body, that's nice to be in that resilient way of being, actually.
Yeah. Being resilient is being able to move with the fluctuations, with the waves of life, in your relationship, on your work, in the relation with yourself, that you're able to feel more what's going on with you, simply become more aware. And this awareness starts often on a feeling level, on a physical level.
Yeah, it's true. Shall we go to the next segment, Ketu?
Yeah.
Which is the respiratory system. This is the thorax. It's the respiratory system part, but the other part is in the diaphragmic. But it's also being held a lot in collapse. People collapse, and people lose the ability to breathe.
Yeah.
Because they are afraid, or they don't know how to breathe well, or whatever. But in order to breathe well, you can gain more body awareness.
Yeah.
And you gain more charge in general, so you feel more healthy, you have more energy. And a lot of people collapse because of watching the telephone all the time, or because life is hammering on them, or all kind of structures, all kind of things that happen in life. And in this work, you can open up this thoracic part, and also have the feeling part, the heart space, open up more and get more heartful, so people can be more open in a loving way.
Yeah.
And that's also a nice part of working. And you see a lot of people with shallow breathing and pretty hardened, not so loving.
So shallow breathing is also a favorite way to limit what you can feel. If you breathe less, you will feel less. So if you have a lot of feelings which are unwanted, then one way to not have to connect with them is to limit your breathing. So, and this also happens often very unconsciously, so that by doing this work and opening the breath, and people can breathe more fully, then people also become aware of, hey, I have really not been breathing fully for a long time. Yeah. And being able to breathe again with my whole chest, with my whole lung volume, it gives a different quality to life. And it will also give you more energy. If you look at the fact that the oxygen we breathe in is also a kind of sustenance, it's a kind of nourishment for the body. So by limit the way we breathe and the limited intake of oxygen, we're also putting our own functioning, our own life on a minimum. So we often, because we hold our breath, we also live to a minimum.
Yeah.
And by breathing more, you can live more to a maximum. How about that?
Yeah, you become more resilient, and you get more energy. You are more capable of holding on. You don't struggle with long days or whatever, and you have more ability to exercise and
Yeah, you will have more energy. Huh?
Yeah,
you can have more nourishment.
Yeah,
more
but also
oxygen.
more loving to give and to receive, because it opens also up the place where your heart is in this very area.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open up there, then you can really connect with your heart, and if you can really connect with your own heart, you gain more trust in giving and receiving love. That's what I experienced too in the sessions where I work in this area.
And this giving and receiving love, that's really what we're here for, huh?
Actually, that's the core of what's keeping us in this place.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of being alive, of the experience of being human, is to be able to give love, to receive love, and in this process also feel more love for yourself, more self-love.
Yeah.
So
start with that, actually. I think.
Yeah, it's a process it works both ways, huh? You give more love, you receive more love, you can feel more self-love, and with more self-love, you also have more to give.
I think so. And we hooking into this love theme, we also talk in this training. We talk about the segments. We have a defense system of segments around love, around this core feeling, because it's also dangerous to receive love, and it's also dangerous to give all your love. So we have a conditioning around that, and we talk also about that understanding of giving and receiving, and what is the segments around this holding this heart love. Mm-hmm. And which one of the segments is the fascial layer, and the other segment is the ego layer. And there's another segment, which is there's another segment I can't recall right now. You neither.
Well, you have on the outside is more.
That's the ego layer.
On the outside, you have what you call when you don't care. You seem to be careless, or nothing can touch you. Underneath that, you find the muscular armor, how we protect ourselves.
The fascial layer. Yeah.
And underneath that, there can be emotions such as emotional pain.
That's the one.
Emotional pain, and also anger, which also needs to be worked through before you can get to the core. And in the core, there's love.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining.
Yeah. So we try to take all these different layers into account, so that eventually you can connect more with your true self. Really, you can become more authentic and become more yourself on both a physical and emotional and mental level.
Yeah, you open up health spaces, basically.
Yeah.
And also in here, because this is the place where we hold a lot of tension, because we are preparing ourselves for impact, brace. Like when something's happening, the first reaction you do is hold your breath, and that's what you do with your diaphragm. So the diaphragmic segment, which is this one, is also holding a lot of tension, because that's the first place where trauma goes, actually. Here and here. It's like, and we freeze in that area. Huh? You brace yourself, and that's because of the fear that something is hurting you. You're also protecting your soft spots here. So that's also what you find in this area when people are released here. They find an uprise of relief, and then they can breathe in the top of their lungs, but also they can really release tension around in their bellies, because it's also connected to to a point that we call the lumbar dorsal hinge, and that the place that's also holding a lot of fascia tissue, a lot of muscles there attached, like the psoas and the diaphragm, but also more superficial structures like your trapezius, and it's all connected in this junction here.
Yeah.
And when you release this diaphragmic area, there's a lot of release in up, down feeling. So what also happens is that you can actually make more contact with your feeling.
With your gut feeling.
With your gut feeling. So you really experience again the gut feeling connection when this diaphragmic area is released.
Yeah. And what all this tension does, it stops the streaming of energy through your body. So by relieving this holding, your posture will open more up, and you will also be able to connect more with the outside. This, what we talked about, this armoring, it protects you from feeling what you have inside, but it also protects you from everything which comes towards you from the outside. And the result is isolation, where you can even be with people, but you still feel lonely because you are holding, you don't want to feel what you have to feel, and you don't want to receive what people have to give to you. So from this to opening up and also allowing the outside world to touch you can be a major step for a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's a lot of holding in this area. Also in the belly, I talked about the belly already a little bit, but working in this belly area, in all the structures and all the tension in the back, but also in the psoas and also in the superficial layers, the rectus abdominis, a lot of holding there. If people are tight, then they hold a lot of tension in their rectus abdominis. The six pack, we call it the six. When people all the tension there all the time, it's because they're stressed. They're really they're not open. They're not relaxed. The first thing you do when you are being stressed is hold tension in your belly, and all the intestines start to harden up, and
So this also explains a lot of problems people have with their digestion, or the fact that they get stomach ulcers. is trying to digest a lot of stress in the belly, and holding a lot of emotion,
which is actually the opposite what happens, because the digestion is being compromised by all the tension held there.
So you get constipation,
stuff like that,
all kinds of physical problems, which is, so you see also the relation between physical symptoms and emotional holding. It's the connection body and soul, really. And so we try to work on both levels, from both sides, on the emotional side and also the physical symptoms. So the combination of both.
There was a big understanding for me to really go into this segment, and I saw a more three-dimensional picture of people when I do the body reading, and it helped me doing better sessions, actually, to look at people this way.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah, well, we do also body readings. It's part of our work, and reading the body and seeing what the body can tell us. And this also, the body has a story to tell. And by deciphering all the tensions and the holding and the posture, then as a practitioner, we know also more how we can work with that to really help this person open up.
Yeah, it helped me a lot.
So, and also for the client himself, like to look more towards the body and letting the body tell its story will also create a lot of personal awareness.
Yeah.
So it's not just for us, it's also for the client.
Yeah, it's true, because the client is looking in the mirror. It's a good way of working, actually. But I don't want to go in there. We want to go into the last segment, which is the pelvic and legs, which is also interesting part of the body because the legs are made for running. And when one of the responses when we are in this space, then we want to run away. And when it's not happening because we're not allowed to run away, we store all this energy in the legs and in the psoas. And so it's connected also to the segment before, but it's all connected, of course. Yeah. But the running, there's a lot of running and kicking in these legs, hold, because you're super angry and you want to kick, but you can't kick because it's your boss. And you don't want to lose your job, which is really traumatizing for people sometimes. And they don't have a good way of expressing anger. And I often tell people to do martial arts or do something like really expressing your anger in a way. And it helps people a lot because they cannot express sometimes the anger that they store in their traumatized body. Yeah. So that helps. And also running is one of fight, flight, or freeze. So flight is a major. If you don't have
one way to save your own life is to run.
Exactly, huh? But when you are behind a computer and you have to finish your job, you can't run. So you store the energy in your body and you can't run, and that's where trauma is built. Yeah. It's the most simple way of picturing yourself what we're dealing with in all these segments. Only we have developed different ways to express these feelings.
Another place where people hold a lot is in the pelvic muscles,
in the butt.
In the butt, where being really tight-assed is an expression that people are familiar with. When you really tighten your ass muscles because you don't want to feel. It's a way of protecting yourself, and it usually those things they start very early. Yeah, they start even in the first years of life. Yeah, when you learn to go to the toilet and you are told not to do that, but you have to do it this way, and then you tighten up just to protect yourself. Yeah. So letting this tension go, man, it's important, and to feel again those feelings that you
it's liberating
that you were not allowed to express.
No, that's true. So I think this is basically what we want to say. There's lots more to say about the pelvic area because it can also have issues around sex, holding, the sexuality later in life, and which is also a primal thing, actually, one of the primal holdings. But anyway, it's a lot to talk about this, and we can talk longer. But we decided to not talk longer than half an hour. Because then it gets boring.
So not to bore you, but we hope you could take something out of this conversation and perhaps even relate it to yourself. And if you want to know more, we invite you to get in touch with us and ask questions, perhaps even come for a session. And for those of you who want to learn this work, we are doing what is called Module 7, working with healing trauma.
Yeah, we will do that together. And Ketu is teaching in Scandinavia, and I'm teaching in Holland, and in the future maybe somewhere else too. But for now, that's the thing, and we do this level together because we like to do it together. And I think together we can teach more things and add stuff from each other. Like we do now, actually. I like this way of talking with you.
Yeah. It's nice to hang out.
So, there's a place, my place is Great Connections, where you can, .nl, where you can find stuff. And your place is called?
Well, my training in Denmark is MERScandinavia.com. Yeah. And my website for my practice here in Holland is lichaamswerkbergen.nl.
Okay. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching and listening.
And we try to do it at least every month or so.
Yeah. So welcome back, and hope to meet you along the way.